Welcome into the Commanders Report. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. On today's show, we have the latest on the Brandon Aiyuk situation. There's a new report that Adam Peters, the Commanders GM, discussed a potential Aiyuk trade with the San Francisco 49ers at the NFL League owners meetings in Phoenix last week. We'll break that down at the top of today's show. Then Jayden Daniels, the Commanders starting quarterback, got the boys together in L.A. for a workout at UCLA. And then we'll finish up today's show with the news over the weekend that the offseason program for the Washington Commanders, the dates are now official. I'll let you guys know when the start of it is, OTAs, mandatory minicamp, at the end of today's show, so make sure you guys stick around. But our Giants host, Marshall Green, he's one of my groomsmen in my wedding. He's one of my best friends in the world, but he thinks Jackson Dart is a better quarterback than Jayden Daniels. Make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you think Jayden Daniels is the better QB here in the NFC East to kick off today's show. All right, so now let's get into the Aiyuk latest here with the Athletics' Matt Barrows and Vic Tafur, both combined on this report here to say that Adam Peters, the Commanders GM, has talked with head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, about Brandon Aiyuk and a potential trade that could land the former All-Pro here in Washington before the 49ers would eventually let him go at some point this offseason. This is what Barrows and Tafur had to say in their most recent article. San Francisco 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan spent most of the night with friend, former co-worker, and current Washington Commanders general manager Adam Peters. Yes, the topic of Brandon Aiyuk surely came up, but probably not for as long as you think. The Commanders are seen as the logical team to grab Aiyuk because of his familiarity with Peters from their time with the 49ers and quarterback Jayden Daniels from when they were teammates at Arizona State. But the Commanders have not sent over a draft pick yet, which begs the question, are they even sure Aiyuk wants to play in 2026 after walking away from that guaranteed money 6 months ago? Now, we have heard from a number of different sources that Aiyuk does in fact want to play and that he is in fact healthy coming off of that knee injury that took him out for most of the 2024 and all of the 2025 NFL seasons. It's just he doesn't want to play for San Francisco, and he wants to not be there so bad that he was willing to waive all the guaranteed money left on the massive contract extension he signed with the 49ers before the 2024 regular season. So it's not, I don't think it's a matter of, have the Commanders not sent over a draft pick because Aiyuk doesn't want to play next year. I think Aiyuk definitely wants to play football in 2026. It's just not for the 49ers, and the 49ers want to get something out of Aiyuk before they eventually let him go. And the report that has kind of been out there is that the 49ers don't even necessarily need a late-round draft pick. What they want from the Commanders is Christian McCaffrey's brother, Luke, who is seen as somebody that's a pretty darn good kick returner and somebody that could be a decent depth piece in their wide receiver room, not to mention he'd reunite him with his brother Christian there in the San Francisco 49ers locker room. That is what is being reported as to what the 49ers are seeking in a trade here, and they're going to be willing to keep Brandon Aiyuk on their books here until probably after June 1st and kind of Baker Mayfield this situation where they're just going to hold on to him unless the Commanders end up sending something their way. But I think Peters just wants to wait out San Francisco here because I think that he understands that, eventually the 49ers are going to release Brandon Aiyuk. They're not going to have him on their books heading into the season. And then whenever they do let him go, whether it's today, whether it's before the draft, whether it's after the draft, whether it's after June 1st, whether it's right before training camp starts, right? Whenever he does get released, I think the plan is the 49ers know that Aiyuk is going to sign with them when and if that happens. So I think that Adam is just kind of sitting there and he's being patient, and he doesn't want to have to send a draft pick to San Francisco or send Luke McCaffrey, a player that they like here in Washington, to get a player that they're going to get for nothing here in a couple of weeks if they just stay patient. And if I'm the Washington Commanders, I'm doing exactly what Adam Peters is doing right now. I'm not giving San Francisco shit, all right? Like, I am just sitting here, I'm being patient, I'm waiting them out. And one way or another, if Brandon Aiyuk wants to be a Washington Commander, he will be eventually, all right? Do we maybe have to spend a couple months with, not knowing for sure, sure, there's a little bit of uncomfortability with that, and you could fix that by sending a late round draft pick or Luke McCaffrey to the 49ers and just get this done and over with. And maybe Adam Peters eventually hits a breaking point and he ends up just trading for Brandon Aiyuk so you can get him in the building and get him acclimated and all that different stuff. But for me, man, especially because Aiyuk is so close with Jayden Daniels and they can, kind of do some wink sort of stuff on the side there. That's technically tampering, but, you can't, prosecute what you can't prove sort of deal here. I think Aiyuk absolutely has every resource available to him to have a smooth transition to becoming a Washington Commander whenever the 49ers eventually nut up here and end up releasing him. It's just a matter of when and not if at this point, in my opinion. So where are you guys at? Let me know down there in the comments section. What is the percent chance that Brandon Aiyuk starts for the Commanders week 1 this year? Put it on a scale of 0, meaning no chance he plays for this team, week 1 next year, to 100, meaning this guy is for sure going to be in the starting lineup week 1 for us. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So in just a second here, I'm going to tell you about a great merch opportunity we have up on our website for you guys to take advantage of to help support the channel. While I tell you about that, make sure you guys give me a number between 0 and 100 down there in the comments. And if you guys want one of our scary Terry McLaurin t-shirts that are currently on sale right now on our website, chatsports.com/scary, $29.99, 3 different colorways, black, red, and my personal favorite, white. I personally have a black t-shirt on its way because I don't trust myself with a white t-shirt, but I honestly like the white t-shirt look because it kind of looks like a blank canvas with the paint splatters in the background. Of course, you got the signature Terry point there with the scary Terry Max there. I think it's a really, really cool look drawn up by our merch guy, Arnold, here at Chat Sports. So if you want to help support the channel, we would greatly appreciate it. Chatsports.com/scary is the link. It's down there in the comments and description of today's show if you guys want to make a purchase. Now, over the weekend, Commanders starting quarterback Jayden Daniels hosted a Commanders workout at UCLA. Now, obviously, Daniels spends his offseason's training in LA, and he has flown out a couple of his Commanders teammates. You guys can see in that picture, Scary Terry McLaurin is pictured with him there, but also in attendance here, Scary Terry McLaurin, just like pictured here, but also Rachaad White, the newly signed running back and former college teammate of Jayden Daniels here, the running back, and then De'Ami Brown, also the newly re-signed wide receiver. Obviously, he spent Jayden's rookie season here in Washington. He was there for the workout as well. And personally, guys, I'm just going to be completely real with you. I'd be surprised if Brandon Aiyuk wasn't in LA this weekend as well. Obviously, you don't want to broadcast it out there that he's showing up to Commanders off-season team workout stuff because they don't want to get quote unquote caught tampering, but Aiyuk and Daniels are best friends, and I'm sure there's ways where Daniels can get information to Brandon Aiyuk about the offense and kind of give him a head start there. And I'm sure that they're throwing to each other here during the offseason. They're just not putting it out there on the social media space for everybody to see. I would be pretty shocked if Brandon Aiyuk was not there with Jayden and Terry and Shad and all these guys that were there in LA at UCLA this week. And also this weekend, we got some news that the Washington Commanders' offseason program dates were officially announced, and it kind of gives us some structure now in terms of what we can expect from when the Commanders will be at the team's facility working out, getting ready for the 2026 NFL campaign. The first day starts on April 20th, so we still have a little bit of ways to go here, but obviously that's right before the start of the NFL draft, which begins on April 23rd, and you got a couple weeks there of Phase 1 and Phase 2 workouts where it's really not that much on field. It's more just workouts and meetings and all that different stuff. Really where you see the 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 stuff kind of kick up is Phase 3 with the OTA workouts, which will start on May 27th. Obviously, you have rookie minicamp after the NFL draft, so you'll have that. But then mandatory minicamp is on June 16th this year, and it goes throughout the weekend in mid-June. So I think that you would hope that the 49ers release Brandon Aiyuk by then, just so he can get some work during the OTAs and minicamp and all that different stuff. But kind of like the Baker Mayfield situation a few years ago, man, this kind of smells like a situation where Ayuk's not going to be made a free agent until pretty close to the start of training camp, and maybe the 49 or maybe the Commanders do cave and end up giving the 49ers a pick, or maybe they do end up giving them Luke McCaffrey just to get Aiyuk in their building and kind of acclimated and all that different stuff. But I guess we'll just have to see what happens here over the next several weeks and months. months. All right, so make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. That'll be it for our coverage of the Washington Commanders here today, but tomorrow we'll have more free and informative Commanders content for you guys right here on this channel, just like every single day here on the Commanders Report. So appreciate your guys' support. Again, click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, go raise some hell.